Okay, we're going to make a round window, 1.2 meters. This is what it's going to look like. It's going to look like every regular window, the molding part on it, rebate, rabbit or rebate, and it's for a fixed pane of glass, of course, not a pivot one. It's about 7 hours job, no bandsaw, just router. Good afternoon. We're just about to make a round window for here. The round window is, we're going to make the window 1.2 meters. You see it up here. What we're going to use is, we're going to use router to make the circles. We're going to use this is the mold, what we use for the formwork for that, which is a little bit bigger, and we're going to cut that dead accurate. We're going to use scrap wood here. We're going to make a sandwich of 225 millimeters because we have more scrap here. That's a bit too crooked for windows. Router bit, I'll use this one for cutting the circle, an ordinary plain bit. Then we will attach the plywood to the wood, and then we'll use the round over bit with a bearing. That's why we're cutting it down, because I don't have one that's any more than 25. And then we'll be doing the molding with this one from Infinity. It's part of a set, but we've taken off the rebate one off it. So our first thing is plane up the wood to 25 millimeter or maybe 24 and a half, and then we'll get back to you. So we'll start up the planer. I don't think you want to. We're not going to give you a lesson in how to use a planer thicknesser, but. Okay, now we've cut down all these pieces of wood we cut it down to 24 actually, because our round over bit is only, look at all the shavings, but anyway, great little machine. And now we're going to proceed to make this piece of half-inch plywood. Well, it's 10 mm plywood, we call it half-inch here, undersize. We're going to make that into exactly 1.2 meters, 1200 millimeters into a 1200 meter circle by using our router, and we will measure from this distance over to here, and we make a hole here, and we put a little bit in it. Okay, so I'm going to measure, I've measured already 600 to the center of this. I'm going to use the drill bit itself as a drill bit. I drill this, and I drill the center of this drill bit is the center of the circle, okay, because we have this on this line, not the edge of the drill bit. Now the drill bit itself is going to be used, I'm going to push that down into it. So that's going to be a good guide. It's better than a nail. Okay, we did a nail in another video, and it's a bit of a mess. Have our outside circle cut. We're going to do our inside circle here, so we'll be taking the measurement from that side of it. We're going to leave them the same as the frames in the other ones, which is to match, which is about 36 millimeters, something like that. Okay, now we have our circle done on the outside. That's the outside of our window. The inside of our window will be here. Now we're going to use this hoop to match up all the small pieces, if anyone's lost with me or as it is. This is not a wonderful piece of plywood, but I'm not going out to buy a new sheet of plywood when I have this here, and it's not much good for anything else because it's a circle. So we're going to cut this one. We'll be taking the measurements from the outside of this one. I have a switch here, but I'm going to unplug this as well. I'm not going to put my finger near it, even though we have it on. So now I'm going to measure 600, not from here this time, because this is the outside of it. So we're measuring from the other side of the bit. We'll make the bit as square off this square here as we can. And then we will do 600 less 35. That's 565, isn't that right? 10, 20, 35. That's our line there. Okay. So if you were going by this, you'd say, oh, it's nearly 50. we're not having it like that because it's the outside and the inside of that bit that counts. We'll draw a line here and we'll try and get one square with that. And a hole there. Down the hallway. So I'm after leaving it a little bit bigger, but that's fine. It'll be 36. We're not going to fall out of that. We'll be sanding down. So we're going to 0.5 millimeter that way. So then we will get this and put it on top. Don't have to run away with me. And then we'll do the inside of the hoop. This side that we have up the last time. Now we're ready for doing the inside of our hoop. Okay. It's up. Okay, now we have our hoop. This is going to be the cross section of our window, and our window is going to be 2 layers, so our window is going to be that thick. Now, you might say you want a bigger window, you can make a bigger one. But this is the section of our frames for the rest of the house. They look consistent in the outside of the house. Okay, it looks very thin and flimsy. Probably is. We will, hopefully it will hold its circle because it's plywood. Okay, now we've changed it slightly. I've made these longer. Less waste, and we've put 3 pieces in here, so I think it's going to take 10 pieces or 9 pieces. I think 9 pieces it's going to take. Now you can move this one back and forth this way if you want to do it this if we're slightly off. When we're joining these we will mark them anyway because we'll be putting a dowel in each of them. And you see there, so you can move this one back a little bit this way if you want to gain a little bit here. As long as your joints are tight here when you're doing that. You want to be leaving a good 1/8 of an inch for cutting. So I think one more piece will bring me to, yeah, it'll take about 9 pieces. But we'll do 2 sections and then we'll trim off one. Maybe the angle will be slightly off, more than likely, for the last one. Okay, here we are now. We have it set up for one of the 2 sandwiches. Now, we started off, mark them A. Mark either side of this as well. I'm a little bit worried the circle might wobble a little bit, but I don't think so. When we put 2 of them together, of the finished one, there might be a little bit of wobble in them as well. So I mark either side here and here, so the dowel will go in the middle here, middle here, middle here. This one was a little bit short, but it's fine. We still have enough here. So. And all the way up. We ended up with 2 smaller ones there. We'll overlap the next time going around, so my next job now is to do the dowels. So we'll be putting the dowel going from there. I'll use this one. Where is it? use this one. I only have 8mm for this, but it will do. It's called Jessam from Canada. They made them in metric, and a metric bit for it, so we'll be putting 1/8 one going like this. And then the next layer will be like this, and we'll put the two layers, sandwich them together. Okay, the missus has done it now because insult's not coming back. Now, this is our line where the circle meets. We drew out when we were there earlier. So I'm going to divide that in half for that's 35, so you can guess it. It's not, it's just for the thing, so we're going to guess it. But what we're going to do is we're going to draw a line either side of it. Make sure these are lined up. That's the position that they were in. We drew them. We draw a line here, small line here, and then we'll get this one and we'll square this one. This is for the dowel jig. It's important that these are lined up. So the dowel is lined up. Now they extend. Look at our dowel jig. Upside down. It's going in there. We need to go a little bit more maybe. Let's just see. So our line here, see, that's where our jig will be. So we're fine with that. We need to go down about 50 millimeters. So I'm going to clamp my wood, and then I'm going to clamp my jig. You could clamp it on the side like this if you want to, but it's easier to see the line this way. I will line it up like that, and I'll use the middle one. Okay? So what I'm going to do is we set this one so that this comes out more than half the length, just slightly more than half the length of the dowel. Okay? So that's set up right. We'll use this flat. I didn't change it since the last time. It's probably a good idea to clamp this down. They recommend you clamp it down. That means it would be very gently in the beginning, going smoothly. Sister one here of this. Center line, see how it says, assume that main center line. Go gently when you're doing this and let the dust out. When you're ready there, let the dust out. This is all done live, so if this doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. I'm going to put this in. Normally, you can keep these, we keep them in an aircon room because of the humidity there. That's that joint up there like that. Slightly off, we went off about a 0.5 millimeter there, but that won't matter because it's going over and back. And I'll do just one more. And like before, you put the lines together because some of these were this way, some were that way. I'll try and get it a little bit more accurate. Somewhere in the middle. Let's get a short line here because we're not square yet. And we've got this square where these little Japanese squares are great thing. Oh, super. Super. Especially, I didn't have them in the beginning doing the window. I used one several years ago, and then I got one. It went from Japan to Europe to the Philippines. So it was through Amazon originally. Center. It's a nice clear line and it's etched into it with laser. They reckon that the accuracy of these, and I believe them because we've done stuff with them. It looks very new, it is very new, but I've done a few things with them and they came out absolutely perfect. And reverse. I want to break that away. That's an expensive thing. I felt guilty about buying it. Seeing as the wife here is videoing, I'm not going to tell her how much I paid for it.
How much was it?
How much was it? It was over €100. It's about £100 sterling or £120 sterling.
For that little piece?
For this little piece, yeah. So, Mr. Jessim, my wife said it's expensive. Most people that use it will appreciate it. You can do different patterns and everything. There's clicks. Everything clicks into place at 2 millimeters, so you can't go a little bit off. The main reason I bought it is not for a job like this, but it does work out for this. The main reason I bought it is for, that's the last one I done, CNC. I bought it for making tables later on. Some of these are a bit tight. One more and then we will, I will do the rest myself off video. Okay, now with them all doweled up, it's the last dowel in here, dry fit. we're going to get a strap to tie it in when I'm gluing it. We will be screwing this circle onto it, and this will be the guide for the router to cut it all off for us. So I have the little lines here where this circle was when it was perfect. So we will screw this on afterwards in a few places, and it will cut off the rough one with the jigsaw, and then we'll use the round over bit to use this as a guide. Ball bearing will go along here and should cut this perfect, because this is perfect cut here as well. So I don't have a strap, so I'm going to get a strap down the road now. And most of these joints seem very good. They all seem nice and tight. The dowel is, the glue is the main thing, but the dowel with the glue, you can see, locks in nice and tight. It keeps them level this way as well. And the dowel is perfect. The dowels are perfect that way. So we'll balance it all up then with a strap then. The strap will pull in on, we will put a piece of wood here, and the strap will tighten everything, pull everything in, and each one will go as tight against one another as possible. That's the whole idea of the strap, so it'll take its own shape, which should be correct. So I'm going to get a strap now. Okay, now we have that clamped up now. I got a cheap Chinese one down there, cost $3 or something like that. Yeah, it's fine, happy with that. We make another one of these, we sandwich them together, we overlap the laps. We cut the circle first, obviously. So we will put this one, we'll put that circle on top of it, and screw it down, and we will I'll use the jigsaw first, and take all the rough one, and then I'll use the round over bit, and so that's about without the circle over here. I suppose altogether it's only 2.5 hours work. So tomorrow we do the same, and we will start cutting this one. This one will be dry tomorrow. For putting them together, the circle will actually make it. The hoop circle will protect it when we're doing it. So I'll have a screw either side here and here, just in case it breaks at a joint. When the two are sandwiched together and they're overlapping, there will be 100% strength then. And so maybe I'll have an assistant tomorrow, but I'm sure I will. He had a family emergency.